What is good, everybody? Mikey T, the movie star here. Let me just get my live situated. What is good, Mikey T, the movie star here.
Are you heading to Walmart? Your next trip is going to be the best.
Let me just get my live situated. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I had to do this live. My brother SV Twiz was on live last night about this. So I want everybody to come tap into the video. I'm fitting to send the link to my bro. About to send the link to my bro right now so we can get into this today. Very unfortunate news. Very unfortunate news we got to talk about today, you guys. Let me get the link over to my bro real quick. He's going to be joining me. We're going to be talking about OBH, you guys. Also going to be talking about Jim Jones bringing up an old working relationship with the game. That's right, you guys. We all know Jim Jones had a working relationship with the game in the past, and they actually collaborated on one of the game's earliest tracks, heard by the United States, heard by the whole culture together, the Certified Gangsters remix that actually had Cameron, Little Flip on it as well. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in on the live video. I'm going to be joined by my co-host today, SV Twiz. That's right, SV Twiz from Philly, the hood blogger, is going to be joining me on this one. We're going to be talking about C. Dot, who put up a message on his page today. He put up a message on his page today where he said, "I've been shot before, but never in the face. SMH, pray for me." And I think everybody out there needs to hear this message. We need to hear a little bit more about C. Dot. C. Dot is a really good dude. He had actually reached out to me on multiple occasions. You know what I mean? Tapped in on multiple of my live videos. So I just wanted to come on here and talk about C. Dot today. I am praying for his 100% recovery. I'm praying that he recovers soon. I'm praying that he recovers to be better than ever before. If you look at the picture on his actual Instagram account, and it's C. Dot underscore OBH GG. If you actually look at the picture, it looks to be around the jaw area where he got hit, which is very similar to what happened to 50 Cent. Very similar to what happened to 50 Cent. We all know what happened after 50 Cent got hit like that. A lot of people questioned, with his jaw being wired shut, would everything be all right? Would he be able to reclaim his status as being a rapper that was looked at as upcoming? You know what I mean? Or was it all going to be thrown away? Was his whole career pretty much going to be gone? C. Dot, looking back at it, man, a lot of C. Dot's videos that dropped on We With the Dumb Shit that dropped on We With the Dumb Shit YouTube page, a lot of those videos were going off. You know what I mean? C. Dot stood tall. He stood strong with the other OBH members. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, in recent months, he had just been on SV Twiz's channel. Months prior to that, he had reached out to me. You know what I mean? He had reached out to me. We had basically connected. And you know what I mean? We had basically connected since I did interviews with AR Rab, since I did interviews with Dark Low. You know what I mean? Some of the other guys as well, Skinny Me, Lil Johnny. You know what I mean? I like to do interviews with a lot of the other group members. I don't always just focus on the figureheads of the group. You know what I'm saying? But I do definitely appreciate everybody for tapping in today. I'm going to be joined by my guy SV Twiz in just a couple minutes. And we are going to talk about a couple different topics. Let me see here. Damn. Just what up, Darnell? What's popping with you, Darnell? Akeem, what's up? Appreciate you tapping in. Appreciate you tapping in, Akeem. Oh, shit. Come on, Mike. You got to stay on top of that shit. Hope y'all are smoking good. Hope y'all are smoking good today. What up, Roman? What's up with you, G's? That's right, free Dark Low. Free Dark Low. Free the bro Dark Low. Let's see what's going on. Lucifer, what up, man? What up, Roman? Yeah, this is crazy, man. When we think about what's been going on the last week, the last few weeks, you know what I mean? PNB Rock, Desto, you know what I mean? That's Little Uzi Vert's protege. You know, she was Little Uzi Vert's artist, you guys. You know, Little Uzi Vert gave her a way to actually transcend out of the street activity, out of the realm of your music not being heard. He gave her an opportunity to propel her lifestyle. You know what I mean? Now we got to talk about one of the artists on the underground, an artist on the underground that really had a lot of talent. You know what I mean? We got to talk about one of the OBH members who, thank God, he's still alive. You know what I mean? C-Dot pulling through strong, posting on his Instagram, I've been shot before, but never in the face. Ultimately crazy, you guys, to see this message from C-Dot. Blue, I'm not sure if she was fitting to sign with Kodak. I'm not sure if she was fitting to sign with Kodak, you know, on the account of Kodak really stopped messing with a lot of artists. You know, Kodak actually got out of jail, and Kodak said he's not messing with no more artists. He's actually not. And that made me think like, okay, so now he's done with all the artists that he was messing with beforehand. Also, point out the fact that, you know, let's point out the fact that Desto was actually more popping in recent memory. So Kodak could have actually been put on by that fact. You know, Kodak could have actually wanted to work with her based on her recent celebrity. You know, Kodak was locked up for what, 17 months, something like that. He got half of his stint. So I think he had 3 years. He did half of the 3 years. And when he got out, he said he wasn't really associating with any of the other artists that he had previously been associated with, even though a lot of them were still out rocking the Sniper Gang chains. You know what I mean? A lot of them were still for a while out claiming the affiliation with Kodak Black, but who wouldn't? You know? But from what I saw, it was actually Little Uzi Vert who put Desto on. Now, signing with Kodak Black, shit. You know, these young rappers, man, they like to stay around the money. The women are popping right now. The women are popping right now. Ever since Coi Leray came onto the scene and really started shining, there's been a new, or Meg Thee Stallion, I guess you could really say. You know what I mean? There's been a real new interest in actually putting females on, you know? And look at Ice Spice right now. She's blowing up like crazy. But yeah, let me see. Where's my charger? Okay, perfect. I got the charger right here. Oh shit, man, it's not plugged in. All right, let me get this shit plugged in. Let me see what's hitting. Let me see what this is hitting for real quick. Okay. All right, there we go. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. There's my bro right here.
Mikey, salute, bro. Salute. Could you just give me 1 second? I don't know why my AirPod not connected. I'm gonna just connect it real quick.
Do your thing, bro. Do your thing, bro.
All right.
I'm gonna let Twizz get situated here. Twizz is gonna get situated before we speak on our topics today. Yeah, man. C Dot is holding strong. I actually just saw a more recent post from C Dot. C Dot actually had posted on his story that he was bouncing back, Twizz.
Yeah, definitely. Can you hear me clear?
Yep, I can hear you, Twizz.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying. That it looks like with him he got shot in his face, but it looked like he got shot through his jaw area, and obviously he wasn't in a coma or nothing like that. So, he's definitely seems like he was able to get on the process of bouncing back fast, especially to be able to do the post from the hospital like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What type of recovery process will this be for C Dot? As he said, you know what I mean? He said on his gram, I've been shot before, but never in the face. You know what I mean? This is kind of like 50 Cent actually getting hit in the jaw a lot of people were thinking, okay, that's it for 50's career. I mean, you know what I mean? So what's the recovery process like for this? I understand he's
Well,
posting and all that, man, but
what that's the biggest part right there is the recovery process where they're going to continue to check up, make sure everything is healing right. I'm pretty sure they know if any of the bullet fragments spread it or anything like that. So the recovery process is just as dangerous as getting shot in the first place. And speaking of OBH, they also had another member that he got shot in the head twice, and he was home. You know what I'm saying? Probably for maybe a year or so from the
right.
hospital and ended up losing his life. So just from that, them same bullet wounds. But the thing with C-Dot is it's like he got shot in the jaw. So they probably just want to make sure, it's no type of infections or nothing like that as everything is healing. It don't look like it traveled anywhere near his brain or nothing like that.
So that's what you're talking about in regard to the fragments, though, Twiz. Like if anything
Yeah,
were to travel.
yeah, that's the biggest thing. Only he would know that right now because, and a lot of times nowadays, they letting people right out the hospital after they get shot. Long as they can move and function, some people get right back out the same exact day. So they pretty much rush you out the hospital these days as long as you're able to get up walking and.
Yeah. Yeah, like the situation is Twiz, it's kind of crazy, but I do appreciate you joining me. I'd seen you run a
For
live
sure.
about C Dot last night. And
Definitely.
we got a lot of OBH fans over here. C Dot
Definitely.
really turned up, man. I'm looking back at some of his videos from We With the Dumb Shit days. You know what I mean? And he
Exactly.
racked up a lot of views, and he racked up a lot of people. Some people in the chat even right now saying that he was their favorite from OBH.
C Dot was one of the dark lows out the group. One of them guys that came, and from the day that he came, he stood out. You know what I mean? He was definitely talented. He give you that original feeling of hip hop when he freestyle and things of that nature. But he also come up under an umbrella of artists. Even like the legendary Schoolie D. Like they from the same neighborhood. So he come up under that umbrella and stuff from like his part of the city and everything. And what a lot of people don't know is he was a part of a rap group before he was with OBH, before he did that state bid and everything. And he was hot back then. I even heard him spit some of his old stuff when he was with OBH. That and them rats probably was like 10 plus years old, but they was still hot. So that's how crazy it is.
Yeah, that's crazy that you mentioned that, man. But I've heard that with other groups. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like we heard that about how Spade from Major Figures was actually a part of another group.
Yeah, they was all, like especially like a lot of rappers from pretty much around the world probably was with someone before that. You know what I'm saying? Even Dark was a rapper before he came to OBH. I mean,
I don't know if Lloyd Banks was a member of a group before that. I think 50 might have got his hands on Lloyd Banks first.
yeah, I think that's what it sounded like from Banks talking about, especially like when 50 came to the school and all of that. I never heard Banks in particular say nothing about being a part of a group.
Mm. But that was very interesting statement you made right there about that. You know, for everyone who doesn't know, can you give them a little bit more information about C Dot Twiz?
So, shout out to everybody in the chat too. So as far as with C Dot, like C Dot is from West Philly, Park Side. And like I said, he was rapping and everything before OBH, and he got locked up, and he did some years upstate. During the time of him being upstate, him and Leak Moss just happened to have been in the same jail and became friends through the jail. C Dot was in the jail smoking stuff as far as like rapping and things of that nature. So Moss had did a little stretch, and he had once Moss came home, Ab had the city on lock. So Moss came home to OBH being like at a level where everybody was tuned into him. So C Dot comes home after that, and then the first time that a lot of us had saw C Dot, you know, if you was like a fan of OBH, we saw him on that interview that he did where Leak Moss was speaking about
Meek
Meek Moss, yeah, Meek allegedly blackballing, OBH from getting into the game, and C
with
Dot was
over 1 million views on it, if I'm not mistaken, Twizz.
facts. Yeah, it hit a lot of views because at that time, like I said, Ab had it rolling from the time people was tuned in, but especially around them years, it was really going crazy because at that time, AR wasn't even saying nothing about it or really speaking on it. And you know, Moss had addressed it, and C Dot was there, and you could tell he still had the militant attitude of being upstate. He was like real humble. Then after that, you hear him spit. It's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? He boy hot. Like, and then after that, I want to say, you know, Leak Moss, C Dot to Leak Moss was Dark Low to AR. You know what I mean? That was like they're guys that they had met
Wow.
outside of rap, and these was two powerful members that they brought in the group. And these was two artists that was also being pushed, if you notice. But you never heard C Dot talk too much. If he wasn't rapping, he was one of the more humble members of the group. He wasn't too heavy talking heavy on blogs and nothing like that. But when he rapped, you could always hear his story and hear what his state of mind is.
Wow, you just answered a couple questions for me about that as far as like the relationship that C Dot took on with OBH and AR Rab, pretty
Hmm.
much explaining like he was kind of like what Ab was to Dark Low was to Ab to Moss,
Hmm. Hmm.
and also the void or the role, excuse me, that he played in OBH. Can you tell me, did you get a chance to act? I know you and C Dot, you guys just linked up a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? A
Uh-huh.
few months
Yeah,
ago,
yeah,
something
a
like
couple
that.
months ago.
Y'all ever connect in person?
Yeah, I met Steve Dot at the time when once upon a time AR had a studio, and the studio was in my hood. You know what I'm talking about? So I was in contact with brother Mullah. You know what I'm saying? And this is back
Moolah.
when this was back when it was people were still putting mixtapes out and having it in the CD form. You know what I'm saying? So like I remember No Break Bras had dropped a John. Bras, this is when Bras was super hot. And well he, not saying that he ever stopped being hot, but this is back when they was pushing Bras. And I had got the CD from Bras. After that I had linked with Mullahs and I was moving around. So we was like I was talking business with Mullahs as far as like shows and bookings, because I jump on the outskirts of the city and stuff like that too. So we was talking to things of that nature. But one day I was over there hollering at Mullahs, and this day in particular, when I tell you the whole OBH was in there, bro, I'm talking about the whole OBH. I'm talking about P90, Shy Money, Gome, Breezy, C Dot, Razor, like all the original members was in there. Dark Low was in the booth recording something I never heard. I'm like, God damn, this joint was crazy. AR in there. So as I get brought in the room, it's like I'm put on the spot. Everybody look up, you know what I'm saying? It's like 100 of them there. I'm like, God damn, it feel like I'm in the blog. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So Ab and everything they was all throat talking. So I talked to C Dot and Razor. They was together, like standing next to each other. So I wasn't trying to be all extra. I'm like, just hollering at them individually. And me and C Dot and Razor probably talked. It's probably like a minute joint. I'm like, keep doing y'all thing. Yeah, being y'all pretty much pushing the city. We behind y'all and stuff of that nature. But that was my main really crossing paths with him. It wasn't like a big thing where it was like, I was chilling with him for hours or nothing like that. But the time that I did bump into him, it just so happened to be the whole OBH and the joint.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I remember one time I actually went out there and It was at one of the studios, the studio
Hmm.
where I shot his first interview, where I did one of his first interviews after getting out of jail. And
That
it
yeah.
was kind of like a white, kind of like a manila wall behind him. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And so I stepped in there, man. And yeah, you're right. That room was full of people, full of dudes
The,
playing. What was it at the time? Was it
the
PS3,
PlayStation, PS4.
PS4?
Yeah, the two they probably had 2K, and that's what they had on when I was in that joint too. They was in there on the 2K. You know what I'm saying?
That shit was lit. And then in
It
the back
was.
room, AR Rab was actually there. Ab was actually in the back room waiting
Uh-huh.
to do the interview with me, and it was one of the most lit interviews that I
Facts.
did with Ab. One of the first ones.
Well,
The second interview I did with Ab actually hit MTV, but the first one
I
was just so
remember.
raw. It kind of like reminded me of when 50 Cent did the New Breed DVD or something.
Well, you know one big thing about them, and even talking about like 50 Cent coming up, a lot of times you might see rappers, especially when they doing like blogs and stuff or listen to their music, and then you meet them and it's like, these guys is not like, nothing like how you would have pictured them to be. But the energy was never different meeting them in person. You know what I mean? I can say none of them was Hollywood, and most importantly, they embraced the love. You know what I mean? They wasn't. It wasn't no big. You know what I'm saying, you could pull up on them. They was reachable and things of that nature. You can cut past the whites. You might see 3, 4 members from their group. You know what I'm saying, getting some whites or something like that. So it was always genuine, and it was definitely so organic. Like when Ab was home, like you said, them in them interviews, they was probably the out of everybody, probably from the city of Philly, they the only ones that could give Gilly, interviews competition.
No
Cause
shit.
them Gilly Jones you was doing, them Jones was legendary.
So by posting this photo, it says to me that C dot is going to be okay. Um, what's your take on the photo actually being posted? I'd like to think that C dot will probably reach out to you once he is back to, nearly 100%.
Yeah, and if not, I'm gonna definitely probably reach out to him just to check in with him, to make sure everything is good. Because when he come home, it's gonna be a lot of people hitting him up. I even noticed, Breezy Baguettes, another member that we didn't hear much from, was in his comments. So I'm pretty sure when he get out, it's gonna be a lot of people. Him and Razor was probably like the duo to compare, like what you would call it, Dutch and Spade, because them two always stuck together, through everything. And they, up to the interview I did with them too, C Dot was always talking like how them two continue to work and things of that nature. So I know Razor probably going to be slide through there as fast as he can, even with him being on house arrest. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely reach out to him if he don't reach out to me.
Yeah, man. And if anybody wants to check out that recent interview, you can go back to Twizz's channel and check it out. He had a conversation with C Dot and Razor, just a few months back. So if you guys want to check that out, because you're right, Twizz, there will be a lot of people hitting him on his inbox, and out of respect, you know what I mean? You just got to go about it the proper way. But I know you two got a good connection. I was even saying in, previous months to that, C Dot had actually tapped in with me on Instagram Live.
Hmm. Facts, facts. And like I said, he a thorough boy, and also to spin off of the question you asked, I feel like he definitely gonna be great for the recovery. My whole thing is he gotta be very careful, obviously, when he get out of that hospital. You know what I mean? Because um, stuff don't stop. You know what I mean? As far as drama and issues. So, God's willing, he can be in a situation and maybe try to avoid certain situations. You know what I mean? Because that's one major thing about, when you're getting out the hospital from surviving getting shot, you want to make sure that don't happen again. You know what I'm saying? So,
Sure, man. Excuse me. I was just getting
It's
excuse me.
all
I was
good.
just getting something situated right here.
Shout out to everybody in the chat too, man. Much love and respect.
Definitely appreciate you tapping in on this one tonight, man. It's just so crazy. Everything as of late with PNB Rock and then
I know.
Desto, who was signed by Lil Uzi Vert or had a relationship with Lil Uzi Vert.
Facts, facts. It's crazy, and it just don't, nothing. It just seems that nothing seems to stop, man. It's just a headache, man. Especially like when you a rapper, you get targeted a percentage more than the people that's already in the streets. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say the percentage is too higher, but the more successful you is as a rapper, if you coming around the head like that, yeah, you definitely gonna be a target.
So, Twiz, I want to ask you about that a little bit since we didn't get to talk about it with Desto. A lot of Cash Desto, who, little Uzi Vert was showing a lot of love to, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And she actually was involved in a situation where they're saying it could be road rage. They're saying it could be robbery. They're really not saying what it is at this point in time, and she had a Porsche SUV, and it looked like it was shot at from both ends,
Yeah,
both sides.
yeah. They wanted to. That don't look like no robbery. A robbery would have followed that Porsche, and try to let them get to their destination. Cause to start shooting at a car like that, now you drawing the attention of the cops. So you got to do that. Now you got to get in the car. Then you got to try to get what you gonna get. So now that right there, they wanted to, they wanted to stop whoever was in that car, whether it was for her or whoever she was in the car with, or affiliated with. Because once you affiliated or around somebody, you a part of them. So it ain't like they nowadays people ain't just worrying about hitting the person that they got an issue with. They will give it to everybody that's in the car with you.
Yeah, she's one of those crop of talent from Memphis, actually, Twiz.
Yeah,
Memphis, Tennessee. You know what I mean? So, and another thing I wanted to mention was that how heavily sought after female talent is right now. You know what I mean?
it
All the
is.
female Megan the Stallion, Coi Leray, even though Coi Leray's numbers didn't go that crazy, people are still going to the concerts and just streaming the music or whatever.
Yeah, it is. And to her, she just, not to compare or nothing, but she just seemed to be, like the up and coming future. Young May is something like that. You know what I'm talking about? She had that type of energy and the artist showing her love. You getting Uzi to show you love, then that's a big cosign right there. Now people really gonna be tuned in. And I heard that she was also in the process of possibly getting signed with Kodak. I don't know how true that was, but
Some people were chiming in about on the chat.
uh-huh. Yeah, so she had like that, that female street, I'm saying, that female with street credibility type energy. So, that's always a great marketing right there.
Yeah, she was without a doubt, the next up. I mean, shit, to get the co-sign of somebody like Little Uzi Vert, it says a lot because he doesn't really turn his head for that much. It doesn't seem, Twiz.
No, he gotta like it. He gotta see talent and for him to want to. You know what I'm saying? He got. You know how many artists it is from Philly that's coming up. And he gonna jump on your joint if he gotta really see that talent himself.
But so let's get into this situation. Jim Jones spoke on the game, linking
Hmm.
with the game early on. We all know that they had an early history together. Jim
Uh-huh.
Jones said he's telling me they're about to sign me to G Unit. You dig? But as soon as they sign me and I go platinum and all that, I'm gonna do what 50 did to Ja. I'm like, you sure you want to do that? He's like, F that blood. I'm like, this dude is crazy. What do you make
Mm-hmm.
of that, Twizz? Just this guy about to sign with G Unit, but he has a plot in his mind to actually Ja Rule 50 Cent.
Then with hearing that, it just that just shows that everything played out.
Hold on.
My fault. That was a call.
A word.
Yeah, but everything that happened had deserved to happen. Can you hear me clear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, that just let me know that everything that happened with the fallout, when it really, really happened, it deserved to happen. With him years down the line regretting, because I don't care what nobody say, he was upset as time went on and saw 50 elevating, period. Even with like the shows and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure it's people that got on his bad side that would have loved to have a role in one of his shows. You know what I mean? Because that bring energy back to your stock if you're not an active rapper, or just to be able to be in 50 circle as far as investing. Where what he should have been thinking about was networking and pushing and being a loyal soldier to G Unit and branching off and getting the West Coast thing rolling, because none of the other artists under G Unit bossed up. Game was in the situation where he could have bossed up under G Unit, and that could have put him in a way better position for life. A lot of artists from West Coast should have been up under. You know what I'm saying? Up under 50. If you think of the artists from West Coast that got names, picture if they was under him. You know what I mean? So it could have funneled it out more. You know what I mean? He could have been who 50 was to him, but he
Yeah.
could have been that to 50, and that would have kept him and 50. They could have been great business partners. But you coming in with a snake mentality when somebody is giving you an opportunity, that don't make sense. Now, if y'all sat down together after it happened and y'all did that as a business deal, then then so be it. But to come in with that, that's like coming in he came in with snake intentions.
Facts, man. You know what I'm saying? That's like somebody signing the Dream Chasers right after Meek got on. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
We didn't see that from we didn't see that from Louis V. You know what I mean?
Uh-uh.
Louis V was never
Uh-uh.
dissing Meek Mill until Meek Mill ousted him over a video with the police.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I don't want to put it up against a situation like with Beanie Siegel signing with Jay-Z, because Jay-Z was already kind of cemented at that point, whereas 50 Cent was like really a year and a half into his run at this point.
Yeah, facts. And also when Beans came to Rock, he ain't want to leave. He wanted to be front line. You know what I'm talking about? He ain't have negative intentions. You couldn't be from Philly and say nothing bad about Jay-Z, in front of Bean's face. He gonna deal with you like you from anywhere else. You know what I mean?
But yeah, that's just crazy to me for him to think that he could Ja Rule 50 Cent.
Yeah, so that means his whole time of being around him, he was trying to record and document things that he might could diss him for, but he didn't get the pleasure to do that. Because please
Oh,
believe,
he's getting his back oiled. He's getting his
exactly.
back oiled so the 50 on his back shines when he goes onto
Yeah,
the stage.
like
Mental note.
why is he laying on his stomach looking at MySpace? This back in the day. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it was nothing that he could say about, you know what I'm saying, 50, because 50, and when you sit and you watch these shows like Power or something like that, even though 50 character ended up dying out, but he was always 10 steps ahead of the person that thought that they was 10 steps. So while Game is thinking that, who knows what 50 brain was already at when he brought him there. You know what I'm talking about? Who knows? Jim could have even said something to him that, or gave him the heads up, regardless of what Jim, claimed. They all still from New York at the end of the day.
So it was brought up on the Rap Radar podcast that Jim Jones introduced the game to the world for the first time. Let's talk about that, Twizz. Who introduced the game to the world, in your opinion? Because
50.
they might have a little point there. Certified Gangsters. It was actually a music video where the game was there doing his thing.
50 is what introduced him to. I never knew of the game until him and 50 had them collabs. The what we do. I mean, this is how we do, and the hate it or love it. They was my introduction to the game. Them two songs.
So the game's first major appearance, it was actually advised against by Dr. Dre. And Jim Jones told him, he said it wasn't 50, it was Dre. Dr. Dre, when I first heard about, he told him Dr. Dre is the one who told him not to do the Certified Gangsters. And if you remember, Twizz, if you remember a few weeks back, it was revealed by DJ Premier that he had 50 Cent on a record and Dr. Dre nixed that as well. I mean, I could see why Dre would nix Certified Gangsters because he was creating the documentary.
Yeah, facts. Facts. That makes sense. And plus, when it come to rappers, rappers know about other rappers before the world know. So it's like when by the time that you hear Hate It or Love It, and rappers already knew about it. It's just like you said before with when 50 was coming out, how Jay-Z warned state property ahead of time. Like, we got somebody, he on the way. Everybody wasn't tuned in to 50 mixtapes. So when he got introduced to the world, rappers knew about him before that. They knew he was coming to the industry, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But back then, if you wasn't catching up with certain people albums, even if you hear an album, you might have heard his voice, but you ain't know who he was. But when you see the videos coming on 106 in Park and stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's when you really, really lock all the way in.
Something Jim Jones said here caught my attention. I wanted to check and see if you actually had heard of it, Twizz. He said, I first heard about Game. They told me he was Eazy-E's son. What do you make of all this confusion when people thinking Game was actually Eazy-E's son? Eazy-E actually has a son.
Yeah,
Multiple, I believe.
I don't know, man. I don't even know, who knows? That's just one of them, that's just a rumor, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like that really was a conversation. It probably could have been out California maybe, but you know,
Yeah, like Jones is like, they said that this blood in the West Coast Game, he has a tattoo of Eazy-E. I'm like, find him. Find him. He's blood. Find the blood. Why do you feel it was so important for the game to be accepted by Jim Jones and the East Coast? Game told Dr. Dre, he's like, Dre, this is Dipset, man. Dipset. I'm not turning down no record with them.
because Game is one of the few West Coast artists that not only was tuned into East Coast style of rap, but he wasn't afraid to admit it. West Coast is cultural, just how New York is cultural, where you have New York people that was listening to Snoop and all of that and Pac back then, even during the beef. But a lot of people with shadow behind it. They wouldn't want to do collabs or, be outspoken on it. Game just was one of them guys that he was never really afraid to admit his love for artists or to admit styles that he studied that helped made his craft what it is today. He even spoke on it. He said he feel like a lot of West Coast artists, they got gang style rap too much, bro. Like, it's like that hard Cali rap where only California really want to listen to that. You on the joint, you see walking and the beat is extra loped out. Like, the world ain't about to drive around listening to that stuff. You know what I mean? Even Snoop got some super loped out joints that people ain't listening to on the regular, but you could always put on gin and juice or something like that. That ain't too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember the names of the other ones, Twizz.
It is. It is. Them joints be.
You know what I mean? But yeah, nah, he has some joints, man. So listen, Jones is like, bring him to New York, bring him to the studio. So apparently, when Game was brought there, Jewels is there. They picked him up from the airport, and we went ham. So we already had a deal, but they wasn't sure what to do with him at Interscope, and that's why they signed him to G Unit to give him some validation. So right there, I mean, put him with the hottest East Coast, movement. You know what I'm saying? Give him a little bit of validation. What do you make of
True.
it, Twizz? What do you make of that, man? Like you said, the first time you heard of 50 was heard of the game was How We Do.
Yeah, I think also at that time though, it was more of bridging the gap even more between East and West, because I still think that it was like a great area in between after the Pac and Big situation. Game was the voice of the West. He proved even with not just speaking on Dipset, but he proved that East Coast and West Coast could make great music.
Wow.
It's hard for me to go into the straight science, but I think those were two of the greatest songs that artists from both coasts had made. You know what I mean? Those
Together.
are like, yeah, together. And it was rolling.
Wow. Wow. And so here it is, man. He was telling me he's about to sign me to G Unit. He was telling me they're about to sign me to G Unit. And then all the stuff about he's gonna Ja Rule 50 Cent. I'm like, this dude is crazy. And now I'm looking back and it's a part of history. I heard him say it before he even initiated the wild shit. What do you think of Jones? Do you think Jones thought he was actually going to do that, Twizz, when he told him, yo, as soon as I go platinum, I'm dissing this dude?
Yeah, I think he thought anything was possible. He probably was waiting for it. And like I said, who knows? It could have been Jones could have told somebody could have told this person that somebody it could have reached 50 for all anybody know. And 50 like, oh, okay, it's all right. I got something for him anyway, and anything is possible. But I think also with being an artist, it wasn't like he was just sitting around waiting for it. On top of that, like you said earlier, 50 around that time wasn't 50 who he is today. You know what I'm talking about? He was lit and he was jumping, but he wasn't as powerful as he was. At least the world didn't know until he
Ja
started
Rule
pushing
was
people
lit.
albums back.
Ja
Yeah.
Rule was lit. Ja Rule was popping.
Yeah, he was, but he wasn't he was popping. He definitely was lit, but 50 had more of a street style to him. Like Ja
Yeah,
Rule was on there singing and
right.
doing a lot of joints, but 50 was like, he came in with that Tupac energy.
But Twizz, did it shock you when the game started dissing G Unit? And did it work for the game like he was hoping?
No, no, it didn't work. He didn't stop nothing. He didn't affect nobody's career. Nobody cared. It wasn't nothing legendary about like, it wasn't no ether. It wasn't nothing like that where it goes down in history. If it don't go down in history, then it's not pretty much nothing.
Facts. Yeah, I had to ask that. But what did you think as well, Twizz? I know you got to jump up out of here, Twizz. But what did you think when the game first started dissing 50 Cent?
I thought that it was natural because back then, and yeah, that's just my daughter coming in here, but I thought that it was natural because a lot of times once artists fall out, that'd be like one of the main things that happen, whether it go to a viral level or not. But most of the times, I pretty much because I thought that they would be together for a while. I thought that they made great collabs, So with them breaking up like that, of course the world didn't know what happened. There was no internet or nothing. We just knew when they that they would split up. We didn't know like full details. but it didn't shock me. You know what I mean? It was just no different than I know it's not like J Hood when he left D Block. You know what I mean? It was one of them type of Jones. As great
Well,
as a rapper Hood was, he didn't do nothing. None of his. He didn't do a diss track that crushed the locks. You know what I mean? He couldn't. He couldn't. Crush their career or hurt their career with none of his diss tracks or nothing like that.
damn, that's some shit, man. Jones said, I remember when he took the watch from Jacob.
Hmm.
This is crazy. Is like I just left out of Jacob. Shit, with the watch. I ain't going back with this. I'm going to the West Coast, Jim. That's what the game told Jim Jones. He's like, I ain't going back with this Jacob watch. And yo, Lil Meech, didn't Little Meech just recently get locked up for something similar to this?
Yeah, I think Lil Meech was on the payment plan
Yep.
on a piece of jewelry and didn't keep up with it. Yep, and I think he ended up straightening that out too because he did another post with him with some more jewelry on or something like that after
Yeah, I
that.
believe he just got not guilty or something on that twist.
Yeah, yeah, that was an easy one for him to get through.
Damn, it's easy for these rappers to walk out with that watch, huh, man?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. They got credit, man. They be having credit with them. These people know you're not going to run nowhere. You are artist, and if so, they is going to end up taking you to court anyway. So it's like, yeah, go ahead, take this. Jacob was the biggest, the most professional, biggest name when it came to rappers and getting jewelry
Shout out to
before
Jacob.
today. Yeah, shout out to Jacob. But all the early era, that's all you heard was Jacob, Jacob.
Don't act like Jacob's money slowed up though. He's still
Oh
doing his
yeah,
thing.
it didn't. It didn't. He the forefather when it comes to that rapper jewelry.
Now Twizz. It's interesting you mentioned store credit. Lil Baby got a little store credit. I don't know if you heard about it. I guess they overcharged
No,
him
what happened?
250,000 for a
Damn,
$25,000 purchase. They gave the man 225,000 store credit, and he says that's cool.
damn. Well, yeah, that was crazy. They just pretty much lured him in. So what they took 200,000 more?
250,000. So basically, I think they added some zeros or whatever the overall purchase was. Instead of 25,000 getting added,
Yeah,
250,000 got added. Twizz.
damn, that's love.
But shouldn't they have to give up a little bit more? Shouldn't since they said it was, shouldn't they give up at least 25,000 extra store credit? I don't want to speak for the
Heck
jewelers.
yeah, I thought that's what it was. So I thought that's basically what you were saying. If not, then they finessed him. He's a fool. You know what I'm saying? I'd have
You're
like
gonna
just give me my money back, bro. Like,
give me the
you know what I'm
money
saying?
back.
They forcing you to
Spend
to
that money
spend that
there.
money. Exactly.
Like what?
Yeah,
No, that's nearly $250,000. That
it
or
is.
that is $250,000, even if you
It is.
subtract the 25,000.
To me, it's a shame how much money rappers spend on jewelry, man. It don't make no sense. It ain't that much jewelry in the world where you ain't gonna get looked at no different.
Well, Jim Jones said that's what you do when you're a brand new artist and you start popping and they're giving you everything in the industry.
Yeah, but a lot of them artists, they never stop. It'd be 15 years down the line and they still, you know what I'm saying, doing it. I mean, I guess it's cool. I don't think that, people like, I don't know. I guess to each his own, but that's why most rappers don't end up like Jay-Z or 50. I never saw either one of them go hard on it. All these younger rappers, they do it and they still be in their prime, 20 years down the line and all that. Just like they say, you know what, your jewelry, you can always cash it back in. It's not going to be worth more. So if you're in a situation where you got to cash it in, then that's a problem. That shows you that you did the wrong things with your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, certain logos, it's like the jewelers must be like, Now, why would I buy back a logo that says G Unit on it? Well, now the resale, I'm tripping right there. The resale value on some of those chains could be a little bit crazy to some collectors, Twizz.
It could if the brand is big enough. That's like having the original Death Row chain. They'd be like Tupac actually wore this
Right.
or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I was just gonna throw little babies 4 PF chains or whatever they are under the bus and be like, what's the resale value? But I imagine there's a shitload of collectors, a shitload of gangsters, you know what I mean? That would love to buy that, and they'd probably pay 10 to 15,000 more than what it's worth. Or do you think I'm tripping when I say that, Twizz? Are
I
they not
think they
spending that much more?
I think something will have to happen to the artist where they no longer here to make the value go up too much. Other than that, it's too many lit artists coming out left and right.
Now, Game said this. Game said, I did certified gangsters with Jim Jones. Dre told me not to do that. We don't do no mixtapes at Aftermath. I was like, F that. I told him, F that. I told him, yo, everyone I'm cool with, I was fans of. I'm doing a song with the dude from Dipset, and I'm doing this album with you. So, first, I want to know, what do you think about the Game disobeying Dr. Dre's idea, suggestion?
Well, that's sometimes it can work in the artist. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times it don't. When you got somebody in the game that's trying to school you, it might be a reason that he's telling you that. So play your part. If you want to do so much and do so much by yourself, then that's why you get in the position to become a solo artist where you don't have to have an overhead. When you got an overhead, you gotta follow that, bro. These people give you the opportunity. They took you from off the block. You wasn't coming in the game rich. When you come in the game rich and you paying for everything, and you pretty much paid your way in the game for advertisement promotion, then you got more leeway. But when somebody taking you from off the block and you ain't have nothing but your hood, then you follow those rules, and that's the problem that a lot of artists do. Where what if he wanted this? What if he let him do the music with Jim Jones, right? And then that music take off and Dre made sure he didn't see a penny from it. Then he would be feeling dumb and complaining, but he didn't listen in the first place. He could be dealing with legal issues or anything. You don't understand how the game work when you coming in it straight from, fresh off the block. And I'm not saying that was his position in particular, but your job is that's like death row. You think Snoop would have came out and did a song with Biggie Smalls and you know what I'm saying? Without Suge and them approving it? No, that wouldn't have happened.
Right. Sure, they're gonna say they have no problem with one another on a radio. Sure, they're gonna take a picture with
Exactly.
one another, but when it comes down to the business, it's another story. Um,
Exactly.
in Twiz, 50 did not go against Dr. Dre. 50 didn't appear on a DJ Premier record.
Nah.
He didn't do
Uh,
it, and that's
uh,
DJ freaking Premier.
he never bit the hand that fed him.
That's
M could
DJ
never.
Premier, and we got the Game saying, "Oh, this is Dipset, man. I'm working with the guy in Dipset." It
One
kind of
thing
gets
about
to me a little bit, Twiz.
one thing about 50, could have not wanted nothing to do with him ever. Behind closed doors. 50 would never say nothing disrespectful about him. 50 would never let nobody disrespect him. Same with Dre. When 50 came out with the headphones also and all of that, and we already know Dre had the beats, so even though Dre felt some type of way, you didn't hear 50 doing a response. Like, I could do what I want. I'm my own boss. A lot of times people get cocky and big headed like that and 50 crushed everybody else in the industry once upon a time, but he never went against the hands that fed him.
So this is what Game said. He's like, Dre was like, "Nah, we don't f with no mixtapes." I'm like, "Damn, we can't do shit at Aftermath. Can we go outside?" Salute to Dre because he ran a tight ship. And the quality of music when you're under Dre, this dude don't miss. NWA, Snoop, Pac, 50, M, me, Kendrick. What do you make of that? His the way he talked about being on Aftermath here, saying, "I'm like, damn, we can't do shit at Aftermath. Can we go outside?"
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I feel like he should have known exactly what he could do and what he couldn't do before he signed. That's why you got to look into them things, and you got to agree with everything with the contract. And you should have asked that before if he knew he had those intentions. But Mikey, I kind of got to get out of here because the kid's kind of wilding out right now. But I think that he should have asked about that because it seemed like he had intentions for that once he got his foot in the door.
All right, Twizz, I'm gonna tap in with you later, G's. I'll see you a
Okay,
little later this week.
okay, all right, Mikey, I'm gonna holler at you. Appreciate you, bro.
That's my bro SV Twiz right there. That's my guy SV Twiz. So, so I want to talk about this, you guys. I want to talk about this whole situation with the game. That's right. Jim Jones said he was telling me they're about to sign me to G Unit. You dig? But as soon as they sign me and I get platinum and all that, I'm doing what 50 did to Ja. I'm like, you sure you want to do that? He's like, F that blood. I'm like, this dude is crazy. So let's break that down. The game wanted to do what 50 did to Ja Rule to 50 himself. I got to say, somebody's lying, man. Somebody's lying. Because if we all remember back to Drink Champs, he said the reason he dissed 50 was because of the New York record. He gave a whole different reason of how things started. So it seems like Jim Jones has accidentally revealed certain info that contradicts what the game is saying. And I'm not saying it because he probably didn't watch the game's interview, planned to catch him in a lie. That wasn't Jim Jones's motive. Secondly, what reason does Jim Jones have to lie? Third, isn't this the dude who brought Game to New York? I mean, he did think he was Eazy-E's son. Fourthly, they may not be as tight as they once were, but Jones still messes with the game. There is still some type of love there. So again, what reason does Jim Jones have to lie on the game? What reason does he have to lie on the game, revealing his true intentions to him? And you know why? Because this happened so long ago. Joe probably thinks it isn't even important. We're talking about 50 beef. The people must know, right? 50 beefs with everybody. The story must already have been told, right? So why would the game reveal his plan to diss 50 Cent to Jim Jones? What sense does that make? Why would you tell somebody else from New York? You know what I mean? This isn't even around the Curtis dissing times of 50 Cent and Cameron. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes yourself kind of look crazy. So, like I said, it was brought up on Rap Radar that Jim Jones introduced the game to the world for the first time. The first game major appearance was actually on Certified Gangsters, which apparently Dr. Dre advised against. As I had mentioned, Dr. Dre advised against 50 Cent working with DJ Premier as well. It's all about that first look. It's all about the people's first memory with you. Dr. Dre doesn't want to ruin that opportunity that he has in creating a memory. Jim Jones clarified that it wasn't 50 Cent who did not want the record getting done. It was Dr. Dre. He said, when I first heard about Game, they told me he was Eazy-E's son. And, people from the East Coast really thought that. It's easy to fool people, from the East Coast because we don't know the culture out there. We go off the rumor. Like, who's this crazy dude? I kind of like him. You know what I mean? Oh, dude, he's wild. He's a blood. Jim Jones is like, he's a blood. I'm a blood. He's got to check in with me. He's got to come tap in with me. Just like when Game said out of his own mouth, I admired those dudes. It's Dipset. I don't give a shit. You don't get on mixtapes. That's what Dre said. We don't do mixtapes over here at Aftermath. They said the blood is in the West Coast. Game. He has the tattoo of Easy. I'm like, find him. Find him. He's blood. Find the blood. Why do you feel it was so important for the game to be accepted by Jim Jones in the East Coast is what I asked Twizz. The game actually being certified in one lane of the East Coast with 50 Cent is cool, but the fact that he had the recognition of Dipset, another faction in New York, it made him look extra big. You know what I mean? It just made him look big because with G Unit, he was actually on the pop charts. He was on the, mainstream aspect of the music industry. With Dipset, Jim Jones was releasing those albums on the independent label Koch. So it was kind of on a different circuit back in the day before Jim Jones proved that he evidently belonged on the mainstream platforms. So Jones is like, bring him to New York. They brought him to the studio. They picked him up from the airport. We went ham. So he already had a deal, but they wasn't sure what to do with him at Interscope, and that's why they signed him to G Unit. We all know that story. He was working on the solo NWA album. Dr. Dre gave him the chain, or they had a chain for him made that said NWA. And it, if you remember, it was just like, it was a see-through chain, and it just had the letters NWA on it. It wasn't like bulky. It wasn't like thick. It was like a see-through chain with the letters on it. And it wasn't all that crazy. You know what I mean? It was pretty simple. So it was dope seeing Game with that chain. You know what I mean? For us that have been following the game long enough to know that he was developing an album before the documentary on G Unit. You know what I'm saying? Aftermath. I thought that was pretty cool, the way that Dre was marketing his artist, but it obviously was not to a mainstream level. When they made the connection with 50 Cent, it was to a mainstream level. So where did the validation come from? Where did the validation come from? He didn't get the validation from G Unit, did he? He got it from Capo. Y'all know who is really running the show. Dipset was really the streets, as I was saying. G Unit was pop. The number one thing on my to-do list is to be cool with Jim Jones. People on the East Coast is questioning my blood status, so I'm going to link up with the person who put the flag on his back in the East Coast, the one who's got the whole East Coast mobbing. None other than Jim Jones. And if not, then the East Coast isn't bumping your music. We're not jacking you out here because you're not valid. If you were valid, you would have a song with a valid dude. Let me know if I'm wrong. Am I saying something wrong here? I'm sorry, but that's just the way that it is. You're trying to act like Dipset didn't have the city in a chokehold for 2 decades. You can look the other way, but we know how it is. Dre didn't give you that stamp. Snoop didn't give you that stamp. It mattered to you so much that you went against Dre's advice. Jones said he was telling me they're about to sign me to G Unit. I'm like, this dude is crazy. And now I'm looking back and it's a part of history. I heard him say it before, and he even initiated the wild shit. Guys, G Unit was one of the biggest record labels. You know what I mean? G Unit is one of the biggest record labels. If you're signing to G Unit, why would you diss them? Jimmy probably didn't understand. He's like, that's like me dissing Cameron. He's like, good joke. Because that's unheard of. You're going to diss the guy who puts you on, who's going to put you on. It's not going to work. Until looking back, he realized he was telling me. Jim looked back, he realized he was telling me the truth when he said that to me. He told me that when I first met him. I didn't know he was crazy like that. I didn't think he didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. Jim Jones did not believe it until he saw it with his own eyes. And then when he's seen it with his own eyes, he's probably like, this is comedy. He told me he was going to do this shit. It caught him by surprise, probably because Jim Jones knows a thing or two about loyalty. Now, it shocked me when 50 and the Game weren't able to put their issues to the side at that press conference that they had. I thought that was it. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, this is it. They're going to go back. They're going to go back in and create. You heard rumors about the Game's album being called The Doctor's Advocate, but then it was all over. Then it was all over with, man. So the Game said, I did Certified Gangsters with Jim Jones. Dre told me not to do that. We don't do no mixtapes at Aftermath. I was like, F that. I told him, yo, everyone I'm cool with, I was fans of. I'm doing the song with the dude from Dipset, and I'm doing this album with you. Let's talk about Dr. Dre not doing mixtapes on Aftermath. Doesn't anyone recall when Dr. Dre had a compilation? You could call it an album technically, but does anyone recall the Welcome to the Aftermath, that trash album that sounded like a mixtape? The album he regrets ever releasing because it ruined his legacy. Let's see. You've got the Chronic 2001. You got the stuff he did with Kendrick. Some of the stuff with Snoop thrown in there. But then in between the Chronic and 2001, what trash album was it? Nobody even knows the name. So he messed up big time on that compilation. You know, it had like 15, 20 different artists on one album. People thought it was a mixtape. Wait, this is his first project on Aftermath? I'm supposed to be impressed by this? Who are these guys? What is this lineup? Are these mixtape artists? Who are these guys? I want my $14.99 back. I made a mistake, Tower Records. Am I the only one that did that? Why is Dre's name on it? This has to be mislabeled. This is a mixtape, right? So his whatever the hell you call it, the compilation project, the compilation is a mixtape. When he did that, it's like Dre is falling off. Maybe Aftermath wasn't the right move. Maybe he should have stayed on death row. I hope we're not going to get more shit like this from Dr. Dre, because if we are, I'm pretty done with Aftermath. Yeah, sorry. I have a good memory, but maybe you should have took a pointer from the Game and do more mixtapes. But make sure the artists are known. Not like you did on your album. Make sure the artists are like, I don't know, let's say Jim Jones. We're talking back then. Someone people know, like a Papoose. Someone you could work with just by a call. Names that were actually popping and buzzing at the time. That everyone wanted a song with and everyone wanted to be around. You heard about Papoose. I respect his pen. This dude is mad valid. All the Goonies check in with him. Jim Jones, I got to get down with him. But no, you just want to be very polished for some reason. And Detox isn't even coming out. What is good, y'all? Hope y'all are enjoying the show tonight. And then we move on. We move on from there. We move on from there, you guys. Game is saying, nah. Dre was like, nah, we don't F with no mixtapes. I'm like, damn, we can't do shit at Aftermath. Can we go outside? How petty is that? Salute to Dre. Yeah, I want to bring that up to when Game actually dissed Eminem. He was like, oh, at first he was like, I'm walking through 8 Mile, I'm sick. Someone called Dre quick. And then on the diss, he's all talking about how Eminem wouldn't even go out an 8 Mile with him. So it's like, make up your mind. What is the real story here? Game is saying we can't go outside because Dre ran a tight ship, and the quality of the music when you're under Dre, this dude don't miss. NWA, Snoop, Pac, 50, M, me, Kendrick. Dre be doing this shit. He means a lot to me in the aspect that in the aspect of the early point of my career, in the early stages. But I was doing the mixtape shit. But I just want to point out something. What he missed with. How about that Aftermath album? Besides the Aftermath album, what about the first female from Rough Riders, EVE, the Philly bombshell, Bitch and Chanel? Sounds y'all want to hear? Swizz Beats. How come these are not sounds you want to hear from Dr. Dre? Hope y'all enjoyed the show tonight, guys. Peace.